Bitcoin breaks $10,000 May 7th, almost immediately rejected. Could that be a good thing? Could it be a bullish thing? What is the very next thing that we all need to look out for on the Bitcoin charts starting tonight, May 7th, 2020? Hopefully this time breaking $10,000 is different than like the last 5 times. What is up, everyone? Thanks for coming by. Bitcoin gets rejected. Right now, $9,931. Hit the like button on the way in. I appreciate it. I just like this air horn lately because this is like the thing, man. Twitter, I don't know if you're on Twitter, but I just love how everybody just goes crazy when we hit 10,000, even knowing that it's probably not going to last very long. But there are some really important things that we have to talk about in regards to this $10,000 that we just hit. I mean, this was like minutes ago. And I want to jump into the charts. I want to get right to it. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm going to try and keep this a short live stream. I said I'd do this live stream, so here we are. Let's start right here. Read what this says with me. 10,000 is now a data point again. So I don't think it's that important that we just got immediately rejected at 10,000. It's almost not surprising. The emotionality that runs behind that number is crazy. I don't think technically there's even necessarily that much resistance. There is some resistance we're going to look at, but the most important thing is $10,000 is now a data point for us again, right? And now we're in an uptrend coming out of that March low of like $3,900 or so. And I want to focus our attention on the fact that $10,000 is a data point, and I want to look at what that looks like. I mentioned there are some technical resistance in that 10,000, and it's very clear. We've been tracking these patterns on that you see on the screen since they happened. Here's this longer-term green rising wedge with a breakout target, 10,000. Guess what? We broke out of that wedge the end of April, and now we have hit our breakout target. This is why patterns work, everyone. It takes patience, sometimes weeks, sometimes months for patterns to hit a target. This didn't take that long, but Bitcoin has hit its target like a week later, a little over a week later. So that's a $10,000 target. Zooming in on this chart, we've been tracking this symmetrical triangle, and this is a 6-hour chart, by the way. Bitcoin, we know right around 73, 75% to the apex of this triangle. We were tracking it as it was happening. Bitcoin hit its targets, $10,000 or so, right? So we hit 2 technical areas that were set as targets in our technical analysis. And so it is only fair that there is a little bit of resistance, right? It's kind of expected. But if we're in this environment now for Bitcoin and there's like really like some bullishness going into a new cycle, meaning post-halving, and that is typically the part of Bitcoin cycle that is incredibly bullish, many people anticipating a bull market. If we're that bullish, then 10,000 won't be resistance for that long. So let's go over here to this next screen because I want to talk about this. Now that we're at 10,000, we have a new data point. What are we looking for? Like what now, right? And what we're looking for is structure. It's very simple. I just glanced at the daily screen on the daily chart, and before I did this video, I just really quick charted some patterns, right, where we kind of hit key resistance in the past. And it's almost always what happens. We hit resistance or support, we form a pattern, and then we break resistance or support. And we have trend lines that give us complete context and guidance and structure. So for example, I went actually back to, remember this area? This was before we even entered the bottom of the bear market. People were hurting. We were here on YouTube doing videos hurting, hoping that this didn't happen. But we did. It broke. Remember $6,000 just over and over, hitting it as support? During that time, Bitcoin was forming structure at 6,000 support. Unfortunately, the structure was a descending triangle, right, with a breakout target to like $3,500 or so, or maybe $4,000. And we hit that target. It was bearish setup. It wasn't bullish. But coming out of that bear market low, we have an inverse of that, an ascending triangle. Do you remember this? $4,200 or so, upper trend line with an ascending triangle, higher highs, higher lows. And guess what? It was structure. We broke out of that. We can go back to maybe something more familiar since it wasn't that long ago. We had the swing high last summer. We fell into kind of this descending triangle, and then we were kind of on our way down to new lows. And all of this right now, I'm painting these pictures of patterns and structure because that's where we are now. We're at a really new, crucial data point, $10,000 once again. The last time we were here, we formed structure, all right, which was a falling wedge you can see on the screen. And what happened? We broke down through the bottom of that wedge. We kind of retested that trend line a little bit, but continued down. We had a pandemic amongst us in our midst, and it didn't help. I don't know what would have happened if that didn't happen. Things could be different, but they're not. We're coming out of this tough, volatile time, and I do believe that the bullishness will continue. And I do believe we're almost out of the woods here with this global situation. So now we are here. We are looking for our next area of structure. What will that look like? And to kind of get a sense, this can be complete speculation. There's different things that could happen. But to get a sense of what we might be looking for, what could be a really good scenario would be this: Bitcoin forming structure in a similar way that it did coming out of the bottom of the bear market. We just looked at this, right? We just looked at this ascending triangle with this breakout. The thing that was happening then, besides just a bearish, or it was a bear market bottom with a bullish breakout, Bitcoin had the 50-day moving average crossing above the 200 moving average. That is an incredibly bullish thing that we know, that everybody talks about, everybody's tweeting about and doing videos about. That happened back in April before a massive run-up. Now, what we're looking for is the very similar thing to happen. Bitcoin, the 50 moving average, to finally make its way and cross above the 200 moving average. This can happen in the next couple weeks. Like we could see this happen. We see a lot of similarities if we look at the charts right now on the screen back here compared to where we are, right? So if we get this bullish continuation, then we're going to see possibly this new series of higher highs and higher lows in kind of like what would look like zoomed out sideways consolidation. And what that looks like is very simple. You see it on the screen here: higher highs, higher lows, as Bitcoin is getting ready to have this 50 moving average cross above the 200 moving average. I think if I were to guess what Bitcoin does next, it would be a setup like that. Now, the way that forms, I don't know. We just saw some resistance here at 10,000. We might come back down, test this upper trend line, this long-term upper trend line, and that right now could be around $9,300, right? So bounce off of 10,000 back down to 93, and then we can start forming our channel, right? Our rising channel with potentially more continuation breaking out of that channel. Very similar to what happened back there. If I were to guess, right, that is the type of formation, that is the type of setup I think that we could be getting ready to see happen. So it's so speculative, right? So many different things could happen. Right now, Bitcoin could see rejection, come back down to the 200 moving average around $8,000. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Or I could wake up tomorrow morning and we could be blowing through the 10,000, sitting at 11,000. I would love to see Bitcoin get separation from 10,000 before putting in structure, before putting in some type of new setup, right? I would love if that happened. I don't know if it's going to, but I did this in a video earlier today. If we do get, even just similar to this last setup that we just talked about in that last 50 moving average cross back here last April, this was like a year ago. If we get something similar, we could be looking at the charts potentially looking like something like this. If we get this crazy bullish continuation, it would look something like this. So there's our rising channel we have on the screen. Speculatively, you see Bitcoin potentially coming down to like $8,800 from this rejected area at 10,000, and actually trading kind of sideways for the next few weeks before potentially with a breakout. Now, a bullish breakout, you can see here, mid-summer, we're in the 20,000s. again, speculative. It's very bullish, but it's 100% possible, because here's what else we have in play on the charts right now with this very speculative looking thing that I just drew. We have the breakout target of this area that we just broke out of, this long-term trend line, the orange line you see on the screen. That is a falling, descending wedge that we've been tracking, lower highs, lower lows, since last summer. The breakout target on that pattern is right around like 13,900 or so. So this would be Bitcoin breaking into the next bull market. This is I think what it would look like. It would be interesting to come back to this chart or this video in like a couple months or so and see what happened. But I think this is potentially what it could look like. We know that since we've now broken through this upper trend line, it's a huge resistance area. We're still early on in the game, right? So potentially Bitcoin could retest that at any time. The key to look out for, and this is the daily charts, would be to see if we stay above it. That is the most bullish thing we could look for, so that we get continuation to the upside. So that's kind of speculatively what we'd be looking for. And if you're just joining us, we basically started talking about in this video right at the beginning, although rejected at 10,000, 10,000 is now a data point for us. It's a new data point. It's something that we can use. I put again because I feel like we're always breaking 10,000. Right now we're 2 pennies away from 10,000. Now we're $1 away from 10,000. And so I think it's more important that 10,000 is a data point than even just even staying above it right now. It's good that it's a data point, because now we can use it in this story of Bitcoin entering the next bull market. If we go over here to the daily chart, we can zoom out very, very far out, right? And we can chart what we've been really tracking on this channel for a while, which is the entryway to the bull market. It's the bull market high of 2017, bear market low 2018, and it is this green rectangle, right? So for us to break through that $13,000 to $16,000 and really start calling Bitcoin in a bull market, Bitcoin has to continue to the upside to this first target right around 13,800. It all starts with this long-term falling, descending wedge. And right now we're so early, and right now we're looking for structure. But it's awesome that 10K is a data point for us now as we're trying to tell that story. And you can see it here. We have the breakout target. I have like 13,900 or so. I mean, we could really just call it 14,000. So that could take weeks to get to, right? If you're watching this video, if you're bullish on Bitcoin, as many are, I am, just know that these types of things, they truly take a while to play out. Now, for any bears that are out there right now, for anybody that's kind of like me and is always thinking about potential downside because you're conservative, we know we had the swing low in March. We know we have a current swing high. We know there's a lot of resistance ahead, right? What if we see resistance? What does a pullback, a massive pullback, look like? Potentially $6,000 to this Fibonacci retracement, $5,000, that Fibonacci channel, 618 to 786. It is true. It is potentially in play. But we've made it so far to this area of resistance, and now it's time for Bitcoin to shine. Will Bitcoin break through it? Another trend line I didn't talk about, I've been talking about this orange one that you see here going back to June, but that June swing high was actually a swing high in a longer term trend line going back to the top of the bull market in December 2017. We know we have another pattern in play, which is just the most bullish pattern that anybody could be charting right now. It is this symmetrical triangle on Bitcoin. It is huge. It is the most perfect segue to the next bull market. If we do get a bullish break, you can see Bitcoin coming to test the top of this triangle right now. I mean, right around $11,000 or so. So again, another resistance area for Bitcoin. Resistance at 13,000 to 14,000, resistance at around 11,000, resistance right now at 10,000, this shorter term breakout target that we have on this symmetrical triangle right here, and this rising wedge down here with these two green longer term trend lines. So Bitcoin at a crazy area right now. And guess what, everybody? I'm like I'm the most bullish I've ever been on Bitcoin. And if I just open up a weekly chart just to kind of like get a macro sense of this journey, at least my personal journey with Bitcoin, and if I can delete this. So here's a weekly chart. This is December 2018 or 2017, like top of the bull market. That's essentially when I started this YouTube channel. We did videos pretty much like every day since then. We're talking about a grueling bear market that we all went through. And through everything that we've been through, I was bullish, right? Focused on accumulation, focused on spotting the bottom and accumulating. And now that Bitcoin is testing $10,000 again, it's different this time than the other times. It's different this time than when it was like testing $10,000 in April of 2018 when everybody had false hope of Bitcoin, seeing continuation to the upside. It's different than last summer when Bitcoin broke through 10,000. I remember talking about there's no way, well, I didn't say there's no way, but I didn't think there was a bull market happening yet, right? I didn't think we're going to break through $20,000 yet. We needed a pullback, right? Because we know, looking at Bitcoin cycles, it just wasn't time. And this is the long-term parabolic Bitcoin chart I did in December 2018, the bottom of the bear market. And you can see now the time is ready in terms of Bitcoin halvings. In terms of bullish cycles starting right after Bitcoin halvings, right? We're looking for that next, that third power trend line for Bitcoin to reach an all-time high. We know we had it last Bitcoin halving, and we know we had it the Bitcoin halving before that, the first Bitcoin halving. There's so much bullishness that is ahead of Bitcoin, and though it's bullish, it's not guaranteed. And I want to throw that out there. Like, Bitcoin to continue to new all-time highs is not guaranteed. This is a risky investment, but the upside, in my opinion, is just so worth it because Bitcoin is so positioned. And me saying that Bitcoin is so positioned is a nice segue to this article you might have heard about. Paul Tudor Jones buys Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. So this dude is worth like $5 billion. He's a macro investor, has his own hedge fund manager, and this says macro investor Paul Tudor Jones buying Bitcoin as a hedge against the inflation he sees coming from central bank money printing. Money printing is one little facet to the setup for Bitcoin, for the setup for supply, demand, and the scarcity that will be found in Bitcoin. This money printing that is happening. This guy's telling clients it reminds him of the role gold played in the 1970s. The best profit maximizing strategy is to own the fastest horse. Jones, the founder and chief executive officer of Tudor Investment Corp, said in a Market Outlook note he entitled "The Great Monetary Inflation, if I'm forced to forecast, my bet is it will be Bitcoin." And I want to just continue because these are really good points. Jones, who said his Tudor BVI fund may hold as much as low single-digit percentage of its assets in Bitcoin futures, becomes one of the first big hedge fund managers to embrace what until now has largely been snubbed by mainstream advocates. The big money, I mean, we've known this. The big money is on its way. And maybe it's been on its way, but now it's going to be on its way more publicly because there's no secret everybody. Like, it's not a secret anymore. The money printing, the state that the global economy is in from a financial perspective, and the solutions that Bitcoin offers. He was motivated to take a hard look at Bitcoin after considering the implications of massive fiscal spending and bond buying by central banks to combat the coronavirus pandemic. By his calculation, $3.9 trillion of money, the equivalent of 6.6% of global economic output, has been printed since February. Lastly, It has happened globally with such speed that even a market veteran like myself was left speechless. We're witnessing the greatest monetary inflation and unprecedented expansion of every form of money, unlike anything the developed world has ever seen. So, worth $5 billion, successful dude, big money's coming in. It says a lot, and others will follow, right? Others will follow. I love how Bitcoin's just trading at $10,000 exactly right now. At $10,000 and a penny right now. Seriously, unbelievable. So, there we go, 9,997. So everybody, I'm really curious right now. We got some people in this live stream, 322. Smash the like buttons because Bitcoin broke $10,000. Like, let's celebrate a little bit by smashing the like button. But more importantly, if you're bullish, press 1. If you're bearish, press 2. You know I love just to see the vibes in the live chats. Bitcoin breaking out of that symmetrical triangle today, or not today, hitting a target today. Huge, huge indicator for Bitcoin. What will structure look like for Bitcoin as Bitcoin tests $10,000 right now as I do this video? It remains to be seen. I promised Twitter that I would do a live stream today if Bitcoin broke 10,000. I haven't been doing live streams really anymore on YouTube, but it's been a fun one. Let's see what happens. If you're in the live chat, I appreciate you. I really do. If you're here right now, you're not a subscriber, hit that stinking subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me as we grow this channel. I'm trying to get to 100,000 before Bitcoin. It's not looking too good. I don't think I'm going to get to 100,000 before Bitcoin, but I can try. And with your support, maybe I can make it happen. You guys are awesome. Let's see what happens. We're $5 below $10,000. Key takeaway today, Bitcoin now has $10,000 as a data point for charting, for creating more structure, for creating more direction, and for giving us direction on what potentially might happen next. Going into this next Bitcoin halving, this $10,000 is a little different because now we are not even in the bull market, but things are just getting started. I'm telling you, let's see what happens. Have an awesome night. Have an awesome rest of your day. I hope you're well and safe. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.